Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Shantae, Risky's Revenge. More specifically, I'm talking about Shantae, Risky's Revenge Director's Cut. It's a version that is on Steam, because I believe it's on multiple platforms, and I believe it originated on the DS with the Nintendo DSi, the DSiWare thing. I'm not super well versed on that since I didn't have a DS and I haven't dug deep into that whole scene, but I believe that's where it originated and then it got ported to a bunch of stuff, and this is the one that's on Steam. So I'm basing it on that. Also, what I'm thinking I'm going to do here is, this is actually the first time I'm probably going to record the footage from this, because it's on my computer and I have OBS now, so I'm going to try recording the footage through that and seeing if you like that better than just recording the screen, or if you guys prefer doing the fucking, just recording the screen to make it more authentic. I don't know, like, with the style. I have not even decided myself, so, comments, whatever, that stuff could be appreciated. Consider it. But if you'd rather not see the whole video review, you can check out the written review. I'll link that in the description. You can do that before this, or you can do this after this if you still want to watch this. Hell, you can do it instead of this. If you just why would you do two of the same thing that are mostly the same words? I understand. Don't feel bad about that. Plenty of other things for you to feel bad about. Don't feel bad about that one. And I think that's enough shit. So let's get to the game. Oh, wait. One more thing. Hopefully I remember this in editing. Is that it also, this is the first Shantae game I've played, and because of this review, I'm actually doing this before I've actually fully played through and reviewed the first one, even though I'm probably putting these out all kind of in order when I actually put the reviews out. So, understand time frames and stuff, and sorry if shit gets jumbled and whatever the fuck. Now let's do it for real this time. So, Risky's Revenge. It's basically it's a 2D platformer adventure game. You could call it Metroidvania, I suppose. I just know some people get mad about it, so I don't want to start with that term, because then people are going to yell at me and whatever, and I don't need that. But you essentially do a lot of the same stuff you did in the previous game, in a sense. Where they really, I guess we'll start with the plot for that, I suppose. That would make sense, right? So, for the plot here is essentially that you're still, Shantae, the half-genie that's defending the town, and Risky Boots comes back and steals this relic that your uncle found. He was actually showing off a bunch of stuff at this Relic Hunters festival or whatever, and he accidentally shows off that lamp, and he's trying to hide it, and he seems like he's acting all weird about it. And then Risky Boots shows up and steals it, and then you basically find out that this lamp has some kind of really strong power, or possibly could. But most of it is just like they can't really use the lamp because you need these magical seals in order to make the lamp work. And so basically, you're tasked with trying to find the 3 magical seals before Risky Boots does. That's basically what you do in the game. You have to go explore the world a bit. There's running around the whole, adventuring through the map, trying to get to the dungeons. You go into the dungeons, and going into each dungeon basically has you learning, like, you learn these new dances that give you these transformations. And they transform you into these different animals. Each form has a bit of its abilities. Like, the first one you turn into is like a monkey. And you can then use that to jump onto the walls and, like, climb up walls and cling to them and whatnot. So there's a little, and you're also smaller, so you can fit through smaller, like, crawl spaces. So there's some design elements with that. It lets you go and, like, backtrack and find new things. It lets you go forward and explore new stuff. And basically the progression of the game is kind of locked away behind those kinds of things. Also, you have to find keys to get through locked doors and stuff in the dungeons, solve a few puzzles, beat some bosses. It's very standard platformy kind of stuff. There's also some magic you can get that you can buy with gems you collect for fallen enemies, and also you can find magic jams to further upgrade your abilities, along with, basically usually to upgrade your spells and get a few other abilities along the way, and those are usually hidden in chests around the place. There's also heart holders you can find, which increase your maximum health, and you can carry around potions and, what are they, potions and, I don't know what the other ones are called, mana potion, whatever the fucking magic one is, things that refill your health and your magic. And after each dungeon you'll get a seal, and then basically what happens is you have a final confrontation with Risky Boots at the end of it. And while this is all going on too, there's also like problems with like the mayor has to like sell the town, and you're trying to kind of get the town back in the process of trying to stop Risky Boots and defend everybody in there. So that's some slight story stuff happening in the game. But most of it is going around killing stuff, getting new abilities to help you explore and find more secrets and stuff, and ultimately, beating the game. You get the idea. And I like a lot about this game. The gameplay is very solid. It just feels nice. It looks nice. Visually, it's all like pixel graphics, like stuff going on for the most part. I think except for like the character art, it's all like pixel graphic stuff, and like the music's pretty cool. And just visually, it looks really nice. Has a lot of layers and stuff going on the world, because there are parts on the overworld where like certain parts of the map where you can jump back and forth between the different planes, and so they have all the planes existing at the same time. You can see them in the background and whatnot as you're going through there. So that's kind of neat. Some cool stuff there. The structure is works well too. It's just you're going and exploring stuff and getting the dungeons, and like it's just the whole Metroidvania kind of stuff that I enjoy to do. I enjoy doing. But it's just like a nice different setting for that kind of stuff. I'm sure I've said this a bunch of times. If anybody knows me by now, they're probably aware. But I like Shantae a lot, and her design, and I also like that the designers it's pretty clear the developers are totally cool with making Shantae like be a hot girl, without it being like that's her personality. They're not gonna ignore it and be like she's just some badass, and we're gonna totally ignore that she's a hot girl. They're also not gonna just go full on like, hey, look how hot our character is, and like that's more of a general thing for the series. But it's definitely one of the things that kind of won me over here is that you have this great eye candy that they're using appropriately in a game that's not relying on that to sell it, and that's great. I love that. Also, some of the dialogue is actually pretty funny. Not all the time. Some of it's a little like, but there's parts where like you're not really expecting it, and like it catches me off guard. And I was like, that's pretty funny. It's a goofy thing to say. So I appreciate that too. I don't know. Like, it's just a lot of really good stuff. It's a really nice package of things, and I guess things that I already liked to begin with. So having them all come together and done well is just really nice. Also, they made the dances a little easier to do than in the first game, which is much appreciated. Much appreciated, because in the first one it's a little more difficult. There's more to actually doing the dances, where here it's just kind of like you have to wait until you can do your appropriate dance. But they didn't totally take it out or anything, so it still kind of has those roots to it. And it's, in a way, sort of trying to modernize a lot of the ideas and whatnot that were from that previous game. So that's cool also. As far as things I don't like, the downsides, it's a little on the short side is maybe my biggest one, which is not like that bad of a thing. Like if you don't mind it being a shorter game, it's not like it's like too short necessarily. I don't think that it doesn't feel like there's not enough there necessarily, but it feels like I guess I just wanted more, especially after playing the sequel to this one. I wanted more, and it just going back and replaying this definitely was like, okay, well, this isn't as amazing as I remember. It's still good. I still like it, but it's not it's just not it's just not as big. It's not as grand. It does a few things that aren't necessarily all that amazing. I think the map system kind of sucks. It's a neat map, and like the way you traverse it is cool. I like traversing the world. Yeah, that's a cool part of it. But the thing I don't really like is that it has kind of a poor indication of, it tells you where you are, I guess, but you can't really tell by looking at the map where anything is or what screen they were on or anything. And it tries to display the entire world map all at once, but if you're in any caves or in any dungeons, you can't see anything else. There's no dungeon maps, there's no cave maps, nothing. You just have to kind of feel it out and figure it out yourself, which is, I guess, okay, I guess? But I would prefer to just have the maps so I know where I have and haven't been more specifically for each area. It would be a lot more helpful. So, that part mainly was, very irksome that they didn't really implement a decent map system. There's also a little bit of, this is probably just my machine, there's a bit of slowdown with this game in the parts with all the layers in the background and whatnot, but, it's not a big deal, and if you have something that's supposed to run this game, it probably runs fine. And then there's, the menu thing is a little weird, where it's like, you have to hit, B to, talk to people, or hit B for back, or, B to accept, I think it is, also. So, it's a weird, thing to hit B to accept a thing, and then hit A to cancel it, and I don't know. It's a weird little thing. You can reconfigure it if you want, and it's just so you don't accidentally talk to people every time you're trying to jump, I guess. But that's a little, awkward. I also think there maybe just could have been a bit more art in it, and maybe it's because it was originally, they didn't want to put too much extra stuff in there. It was originally a DSiWare game. I don't know how the art worked in there necessarily. But, each character only has, a few poses, and when they have their little character icons show up to, when they're talking, and so that's a little disappointing. I feel like they maybe could have threw in a few more, and I guess I'm just spoiled by the later games where they usually have a few more icons for them. But overall, not bad. It's most of the stuff I'm complaining about, I feel like just it's a lot of it's little nitpicky stuff that maybe is because I've played the other some later games and whatnot. But for what this is and where it falls in the series too, it's pretty nice. It's not a huge innovation, but it's definitely a more modern take on Shantae, and whether that's good or bad, I guess that's definitely probably just where it is the source of, I guess, my complaints is what I'm saying, is the positioning, whatever. So yeah, this is still a good game. Shantae, Risky's Revenge, whether you get the regular one or director's cut or whatever, I don't think it's a huge deal. I know I'm pretty sure it's on Wii U and 3DS. I think it might be on most other platforms too. It might be on, maybe not the most current ones, but it's definitely of that generation. I think it might be on PS3 or PS4. It might be on Xbox One or Xbox 360. I don't know for sure if it's there or the Vita or anything, but you can probably just look online to find that information, I guess. I think it's worth getting, especially I think the game only goes for $10-15. I think that's pretty good, even at that. I got this game gifted to me because I didn't know what the hell it was, and my friend was just like, "Hey, check this out! This is this thing that was on sale on Steam." I was like, "Okay," and it was awesome, and it just got me into this whole world of Shantae, and it's great. And so yeah, I mean, even if you find it for $20, I do think it is worth it. It's maybe a bit short, but there's always the magic mode you can do, which is a harder version where you take more damage, but you have more magic for using your spells. So that's kind of a neat thing, and you get to wear a sexy outfit. So there's that. Even skimpier than your usual attire. It's marvelous. But yeah, I'd recommend it, especially if you're into the whole Metroidvania type of games. You want to play something like that. This is a great one with the setting, and it's just, I don't know. It's really fun. It's hard to say much else. It's not the most amazing game I ever played. But it's a fun one. It's an easy one to get into. It doesn't take too long for you, and I think it's a good way to gauge if you're going to like the other Shantae games, just if you played this one. So I'll say that. If you're going to start anywhere, you might as well just start with this one, because it's not super difficult either. It's not like super hard. It's not super confusing or anything. It's fine. It's fine. It's a good. It's a solid one to get you into the series. And I think I've just rambled far too long. Let me know what you guys think of the game in the comments and all that. What you played it on, what you thought of it. That'll be fun. And hopefully now then I'll finally release the fucking one about the next game in the series after this. Even though I think that's the first one I actually recorded the review for and shit. So we'll see what happens. And if you want that written review still, it's still in the description. It didn't go anywhere, so you can still click that. And I don't know what else to say, except for, I don't know. This is the only game I think I ever played where somebody called me a hottie boom-ba-lottie, and it's not that, it was calling Shantae that. I was just happened to be playing. But I mean, like, you don't necessarily need to hear it all the time, you don't need to hear that every day. But every once in a while, it's nice to be reminded that, yes, I am a hottie boom-ba-lottie. I'll go. I'll leave.